Welcome into the Paul Kuharsky podcast. I'm part of the 440 Sports Network. Happy to be here to talk Tennessee Titans with you, brought to you by Zen Sports and Jaspers. Want to talk to you about Will Levis and the quarterback situation heading into the Atlanta game, compensatory draft picks, which I get a lot of questions about, drop back passing, best case scenario for this team moving forward, Mike Vrabel's bye-week vacation in New England, and Kevin Byard as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's jump right in. The quarterback situation, a big storyline this week as the Titans restart their season hosting the Atlanta Falcons. They'll be wearing the Houston Oilers throwbacks and looking pretty sharp, but no one's expecting Ryan Tannehill to be in uniform coming off that high ankle sprain he suffered against the Ravens in London, England 2 weeks ago. That leaves the Titans with Will Levis and Malik Willis. And Mike Vrabel wants us to believe that he's going to use both quarterbacks. I believe he'd use both quarterbacks, but I believe Malik Willis would be a bit player in this, used situationally, hopefully not fumbling the ball on handoffs like he did when he was used as a gadget player in the past. Levis as the primary quarterback seems to be the most logical. I think Vrabel's doing all that he can to try to convince Atlanta to get ready for all three quarterbacks, saying that Tannehill's got a chance. He didn't practice on Wednesday, and making it like both quarterbacks, both of the young quarterbacks, will play an equal share if Tannehill doesn't go. The idea of them swapping series or playing two series at a time is super collegiate or preseason. It's ridiculous in terms of giving quarterbacks a chance to get into a rhythm, giving play callers a chance to get into a rhythm and to get things going, and to give a quarterback a fair chance to get into a game. Levis needs to make the decisions that are easy if he's playing this game as the lead quarterback, which I suspect he will be. He needs to make the easy decisions. He needs to make the obvious decisions. He needs to minimize mistakes. This is all elemental stuff. Obviously, he needs the run game to work. He needs the protection to function. He needs the defense to be what the defense is supposed to be. It'll be the first time we see the defense without Kevin Byard. I expect Elijah Molden, who's back to practice after a hamstring, to be the guy next to Amani Hooker. I've talked a lot about Byard, did a broadcast about Byard earlier this week. Sentimentally, it's a tough blow, but the Titans can play equally bad pass defense with or without Kevin Byard. And he's been a force in the run game, but they haven't played great run defense the last 2 weeks either. I think it's a mistake for anybody to get their hopes up that Will Levis is going to come in and light it up. This offense isn't built for that. Hopefully for the Titans' sake, he could do well. I asked him how much better he's gotten with his accuracy and with his decision-making since he arrived in Nashville. And I thought his answer was really great. And this is part of the reason to like and to root for Will Levis, I think.
17% out. A little bit. Enough to make me feel confident to go out there and play.
So if we look at Will Levis long-term here, or longer than short-term, look, if Tannehill is out on Sunday, I would think Tannehill is out on Thursday at Pittsburgh, right? Then you've got a 10-day break before Tampa Bay, and that would make a sensible return from a high ankle sprain. It would really have been 3 weeks off. You've got the bye. You've got the Atlanta game. You've got Pittsburgh on the short week. Really almost be a month off. What's the best scenario for Levis here? I mean, if they're 4-4, bear with me. I know nobody's got much hope for them on November 12th at Tampa Bay. Tannehill's healthy and back. Levis needs to get in there and do one of two things to stay in the lineup. He's got to play so well that they can't take him out, or he's got to play well enough that while they're losing, they can't find a rationale to put Tannehill back in. Otherwise, we're going to see Tannehill again. And I suspect we're going to see Tannehill again. If it goes like 2022 and he re-injures the ankle, then I think that would probably be it. And then you get into Tannehill's recovery timetable, right? If he were to re-injure the ankle, a second time is going to be, you would think, more serious than the first time because you're stacking the injury upon itself like he did the second time last year. And if he were to re-aggravate the high ankle sprain, re-sprain it, sprain it again, do something on top of it, to me, and I've had this conversation with somebody that is familiar with Tannehill, is familiar with NFL player mindsets, is familiar with injuries. You know, look, I believe Ryan Tannehill absolutely wants what's best for the Tennessee Titans. But Ryan Tannehill is also on the verge of free agency. And in March, he's going to be an attractive option to a certain subset of NFL teams who are looking for a temporary veteran starter, a bridge quarterback, a fill-in for a year while they wait on the draft pick that they weren't able to get this year. So there's a subset of teams that are going to value a guy like Ryan Tannehill. Is he going to get the crazy money that he's been making from the Titans? No. Is he still going to get a somewhat lucrative contract? Yes. And is there a part of me that thinks if his injury is a factor for him in the middle of November or going into December, that further risking it versus putting himself in position where he's assured of being healthy in March when free agency rolls around so that he could present himself to potential employers as entirely healthy and ready to go to sign in March, to be on the field for OTAs in April and assume a leadership mantle with a new team to the degree it needs him. I think that has to be in his head somewhere. I think it would absolutely be in the head of his agent who would be whispering to him somewhere. And I think that's something that could come into play. Back to the Titans situation in terms of who they're playing. And I thought Levis handled himself great. I think Levis is going to be a fantastic guy in terms of how he presents himself to the fans, to the media, and how he carries himself. But he said two puzzling things. The second was because I followed up to the first. I would think if the Titans, in fact, were playing two young quarterbacks here, it would be kind of a yin and a yang matchup, right? Levis as the pocket passer and Malik Willis as the scrambler with more designed runs. We know what he's better at, and we know he's reluctant to throw the ball. But Will Levis made it sound like he doesn't imagine that to be the case.
No, I mean, I just know that we got the same game plan. We're both preparing for the same plays. And if our name does get called, then we're going to have to be ready for all of it.
Now, they got the same game plan, but maybe the same game plan has a Levis component, right? And a Willis component. So I followed up, but I got this.
And we'll see. I think that pretty much what Malik can do, like I can do, and vice versa. So, I mean, we're not thinking about it that way. We're preparing for all the plays. How much do you think you can?
They're not carbon copy quarterbacks. And, can Levis do what Willis does? Sure, but not as well, and vice versa. So I would think if they're really, truly playing two quarterbacks in some way, that the Willis plays would be tailored to Willis and the Levis plays would be tailored to Levis. Now, Levis isn't going to say as much there, but I also don't think he's, as crafty as to play it like this and make it sound like, oh, no, it's all the same. So a little weird there. I wanted to talk about compensatory draft picks because I get this question a lot, and I understand that people are confused about it. I'm getting questions now. If Derrick Henry, with him potentially on the trade block, or Danico Autry or whoever else, if they aren't traded, look at the alternative. If the Titans don't trade them for low compensation and they stayed and played out their contract, what could the Titans get as a compensatory draft pick for them potentially? Fans who want to weigh the difference between trading him, one of these guys, for bargain basement prices, or potentially getting something compensatory for them later. So let me run you through kind of how this works. It's basically you measure your free agent gains and your free agent losses are measured against each other in three categories: your average cost per year, your average yearly salary, your playing time, and then if you get any postseason honors, Associated Press's All-Pro list, or the Pro Football Writers Association's All NFL or All Conference lists. All right, so you score at a certain level off of those three things: APY, your salary, playing time, and you get additional points if you're on any of those postseason lists. These are expired contracts, guys who sign off of expired contracts, not someone who's cut. So somebody like DeAndre Hopkins wouldn't count on the Titans side of the ledger for two reasons: because he was cut and because he was signed after the deadline. So this counts only free agents who are signed before the Monday after the draft. So basically, it's all the free agent work you do up until the draft. All right. And compensatory picks are awarded the 3rd through the 7th rounds based on the values of how this is weighted, what you lost and what you gained. 10-year guys, as they're measured, even if it comes out like that you lost a 10-year guy and you should get a 3rd rounder for him, you only get a 5th rounder for him. That's a mechanism in here. And then we know there's a separate element that teams that lose a minority coach, a minority to a head coaching job or to a general manager job, get a compensatory pick. So the 49ers are getting a compensatory pick for Rand Carthon. This all runs a year behind, right? The 49ers won't get that compensatory pick for Rand Carthon until the 2024 draft. So the Titans, whatever they were going to get compensatory this coming draft in 2024, is based on what they did in 2023, right? And what they did in 2023 is added Azeez Al-Shaair, Daniel Brunskill, Arden Key, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Chris Moore, Andre Dillard. I already mentioned that Hopkins won't count. Those are the biggest guys with the most playing time, the biggest salaries. They lost Nate Davis, David Long, Austin Hooper, DeMarcus Ware, Josh Dobbs, Dupree. Bud Dupree doesn't count. Robert Woods doesn't count. Zach Cunningham doesn't count. Those guys were cut. Taylor Lewan retired. He doesn't count, obviously. Ben Jones was cut and retired. He doesn't count. So when they measure out those additions and those subtractions, do the Titans wind up maybe on the minus end? I think they probably wind up on the plus end, but it'd be very close. And if they get a compensatory, I would think it'd be like maybe a 6th, but unlikely. Next year, are they going to outspend what Tannehill, Derrick Henry, Danico Autry, T.R. Tart, and Christian Fulton get on the free market? I sure hope so, based on the fact that they have $99.6 million in cap room. Now, that's for 40 players under contract, and they need 13 more to get, to whatever their cap number would be. And they're not going to spend all of that. They're going to move some of it forward to be in good financial health. Other free agents, who could come or go: Al Shazier, Brewer, Murphy Bunting, Edmonds, who they just got, Moore, Cox, Hubbard, NWI, Gibson, Naquan Jones. I don't think there's enough money there that it's going to rock the boat for 2025 compensatory picks. But That's a very long way of framing this all out. Is Derrick Henry going to affect the Titans' 2025 compensatory draft possibilities? I doubt it. The Titans have a lot of cap money, and odds are what they do in free agency next year is going to be far bigger than what they lose in free agency, and they're not going to be in the compensatory pick game. So that's the compensatory pick summary. Drop back passing. I stayed in London after the Ravens game Monday, had a day Monday before I came back in the middle of the day Tuesday. But the press conference on the day they got back did reach me via Twitter. And Mike Vrabel said one thing that just set me on fire. He said, if we can stay out of a drop back passing game, I think that's really critical. I would say that's a tall order for us and a lot of other teams, is when you get into a drop back passing game. We are in 2023 in the National Football League, and your Tennessee Titans can't drop back to pass. This is an indictment, as I heard it, as I read it, as Vrabel said it on that Monday, of the building of this football team. I mean, I understand they're a play action pass team, they're a run team, but at times you have to drop back and pass the football. And he's saying that they need to avoid doing that. And I think that's ridiculous on its face, what he said. So I followed up after the bye. I followed up this week. And here's Vrabel expanding on that and making me feel a lot better about it, quite frankly. How about you?
No, it's not again just a true drop back game. I think that outside of 2-minute and third down, I think you probably be surprised at the actual numbers that are there in a 7-step drop, full field progression, 3-level route, 15-yard in cut on the backside. Like maybe I'm mistaken, but I guess that's what I meant. I mean, you're going to have to throw the football, right? But just making sure that there are favorable ways to do it, and we have to be able to do that.
Still room for five steps?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's quick game, it's play action, it's empty screens, keepers, like those are all part of the first and second down plan, and then being able to mix in, drop back and seeing how you can hold up.
Now he excised third down there. All right, if you're taking third down out and you're saying you can drop back on third down, well, I can handle that. I mean, if you're doing all those other things he said, play action and screens and rollouts and whatever as your passing game on first and second down, and only considering a 7-step drop, he allowed for 5-step drops other places, but on third down, that's fine. So this put me more at ease. Until I took this idea to Daniel Brunskill, the right guard. Well, let's listen to him for a minute.
With who said that?
Graves.
I think it's more of just kind of like getting ourselves in bad situations. I think it's not just we're trying to avoid a drop back completely. I think at the end of the day, a lot of times we've been in like 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 10, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 16, like really bad yardage. Like those ones you really want to get out of. Like I think he's more. I mean, I don't want to speak for Mike. In my opinion, I believe it's more the offense. We have to be better at being efficient to where we're not getting in bad situations. We haven't been getting a lot of 3rd and 5s, 3rd and manageables. We need to get into those situations and then be able to go from there. So I don't think it's as much of like we just want to avoid drop back because we can't do it or something. Like I think we can definitely. We've shown plenty of pockets that have been good. It's just, I think at the end of the day, when we get into crappy situations, now the defense can bring in their rush unit, they can bring in their games, they can bring pressure, they can do a lot of different things because they can make it easier on their coverage units because it's a harder down and distance to basically give them the advantage. So I think that's what we got to avoid.
So Mike Vrabel amends his original statement about avoiding drop back passing game and says excises third down from that. So that makes me feel better. All right, they're going to, they want to stay out of the drop back passing game outside of third down. Then I take it to Daniel Brunskill, and Daniel Brunskill cites 3rd and 10 as a bad situation. They want to stay out of bad situations, 3rd and 10. Look, 3rd and 10 is not a good situation, but 3rd and 10 is going to come up. So he takes me back to a bad place. This old theme. Is there a team that talks more about unfavorable downs and distances than Mike Vrabel's Tennessee Titans? And Vrabel gets out of this place where I was frustrated with the talk of not being able to drop back pass. And Brunskill puts me right back in by saying that 3rd and 10 is one of these unfavorable situations they want to stay out of so that they don't have to drop back pass. Now, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 15, I get. But I also say to the Titans, once again, don't commit the penalties that get you into these situations that you dread so much. Don't give up the sacks that put you in these situations that you dread so much. And if you're in 2nd and 15, punt. Because you have basically said it is absolutely hopeless for your offense if you fall behind the sticks, if you get off schedule. All is lost. Everything is hopeless. So Craig Aukerman gets a chance to redeem himself from allowing Kyle Phillips to field that punt in London, and 2nd down punting becomes part of the Titans strategy. I do feel better based on what Vrabel said, that there will be 3rd down drop back passing. And I understand they don't want a 7-step drop, whether other teams in the league do or not. The Titans sure as hell shouldn't, because they can't protect. And I don't want to see Will Levis dead. I don't want to see Malik Willis wandering around out there, not throwing, getting hit. And I certainly don't want to see Ryan Tannehill hurt again. 3rd and 10, you got to be able to drop back. And Vrabel should talk to Daniel Brunskill about that. I am brought to you, this very podcast, which I need you to like, review, rate, and do everything you can to trumpet. It's sponsored by Zen Sports. You are wasting money if you are in the state of Tennessee and you're betting anywhere else, because Zen Sports gives you cash back. And why would you turn away any chance to get cash back? For the first 15 days that you bet with Zen Sports, you get 5% cash back of everything that you bet. After the first 15 days, every 30 days, you get up to 3% back of everything you bet with Zen Sports. Why wouldn't you do that? Otherwise, you're giving away 5% and you're giving away 3%. So what you need to do is get the Zen Sports app. Sign up using TN Paul, all in capital letters, TN Paul, and get in there. If you make a $10 bet using that code, you get a free membership to my site. You're a Titans fan. If you're here listening or watching this podcast, get a free membership to paulkuharsky.com. That's a pretty good deal. If you're a member of my site already and you use TN Paul, use the same email address you sign up to my site with to sign up with Zen Sports. Once you bet $250, hopefully win a bunch of money with that, they will give you another $250, and you're also getting the 5% back on the first 15 days and the 3% back on the every 30 days, up to 3% back every 30 days, up to 3% every 30 days. So download the app, use the code TNPaul, start getting money back in your pocket right now. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789 Terms and conditions apply. You must be 21 or over and in Tennessee to bet. Mike Vrabel, for his bye weekend, went to Foxborough, Massachusetts, and was inducted into the New England Patriots Hall of Fame. This is a great thing for the coach of the team that you root for. Yet many people seem to have turned it inside out. And as they picked apart his words, and look, I pick apart people's words all the time, I found what they did to him unreasonable. First, there were complaints about him spending the weekend up there at all. Like, look, the bye weekend, even coaches get some time off. Getting some time off is a good thing. You have to step away from your job at certain times. People making it like he should be 24/7, like in the basement of the Titans facility, watching film, not seeing his family, not coming up for air, not going out to dinner. Any of that stuff is crazy. Now, it's very cool that for 2 days that he probably came up for air, he was still connected to football. That's very cool. People had a problem with him being in Robert Kraft's box. And it is a very unusual situation that a current coach of an NFL team on a regular season Sunday is in the box of another owner, not his own. I can't imagine Amy Adams Strunk had any kind of issue with this. She knew it was coming. He knew it was coming. Kraft knew it was coming. I doubt they were talking about anything related to the competitiveness of the AFC or the NFL. They were reminiscing about old times, good times, great times that you should be proud that the coach of your team is connected to and a part of. It's nonsense that he's taking grief for this. So you should be thrilled that your coach ranks so highly as to be in the Hall of Fame of the most successful team of the modern era and of his playing era. Time off, still connected to football. That's cool. He said something about nobody does it better than the Patriots, which somehow became controversial. I hate when the factual becomes controversial. Nobody does it better than the Patriots. They've won 6 Super Bowls in a relatively short span of time. You can't argue with the fact. He didn't have to defend himself about this, but he did on Tuesday at the press conference by pointing to those 6 Super Bowls. He's stating a fact. And listen to what else he said, which everybody left out. Everybody who was giving him grief for saying nobody does it better than the Patriots left this out. There was understanding. There was respect. You could say things that needed to be said to each other. And every day, that's what I'm trying to recreate wherever I coach. And now it's with Tennessee. What I'm trying to recreate is what we had in that locker room. I don't know if we'll get it, but every day I'm going to try. And then he went on a little further. Nothing was more important than the team. Not your feelings, not your stats, not your paycheck, not what you've done in the past. Nothing was more important than the football team. And guys that were here before me made me aware of it, just like I was able to make our guys aware of it. There is zero objectionable about that. You should be thrilled that your coach had those lessons from being part of those teams and his 3 Super Bowls, and can try to instill that in the guys that you want to win a Super Bowl. Looking for stuff to pick at and be miserable about that is going too far. There's plenty to find to bitch about the Tennessee Titans. Trust me. I do it almost for a living. There's none of it in there. This podcast is also sponsored by Jaspers, which is a great place to eat and drink on West End Avenue between downtown and Midtown. It's a phenomenal place to go. I go there for lunch sometimes. I listen to a podcast. I do some reading. I prepare some notes. The bartenders give me great service. They give me great beverages. They bring me great food. If I'm in the mood, I can go shoot some skee ball. I suck at skee ball. My wife's better than I am. That's why I need to practice. If I had a friend with me, we could play some air hockey or some papa shot. All free. I park there for free. Parking for free in Nashville is like, Christmas morning if you're going to get something to eat, and you can park for free. Menu's great. Drinks are great. Location is great. parking situation's great. You can go there for a business lunch. You can go there on a date. You can take your spouse. You can bring your family. This is a versatile place, as versatile as the players that Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon want to have on the Tennessee Titans. I can't encourage you enough to eat there. Stop by Jaspers on West End between downtown and Midtown. You will not regret it. I wanted to talk about the best case scenario for the Titans because you know me to be a positive ray of light. I write 2 weekly files for bettennessee.com, and I tweet them out each week, which is part of my deal with bettennessee.com. And a lot of you have a big time when you see these files. Why are you writing about the Titans' playoff chances? That's laughable. Why on earth would you send out a link to a piece about the Titans' Super Bowl chances, which, by the way, right now are 0.8%? Well, the reason I send those 2 files out is because I write 2 files a week for bettennessee.com. But listen, in these files, they have set out the weekly odds for the rest of the Titans schedule. And I'm here to tell you, with the Titans sitting 6 games into their schedule at 2-4, that of their remaining games, they are favored in 5. This weekend against Atlanta, at Tampa, against Carolina, against Indianapolis, against Houston, and at Houston. That's every home game except the Jaguars. Also, they're +2 against Seattle and +2.5 against Jacksonville, the only home game that they're not favored in. All right. So let's just play this game. Let's give them those 5 wins in the games that they're favored in. I know it doesn't go like that. All right? I know it doesn't work that way, but that's 7 wins, right? Then give them one of those 2 wins that they're narrow underdogs in. That's 8. 8 wins. That 7th spot in the AFC could be up for grabs for a team in the 8-9 win region. I'm not saying it's happening for the Titans. Titans have a lot of deficiencies, but the Titans play a lot of bad football teams. Are you impressed with Atlanta or Tampa Bay or Carolina or Indianapolis or Houston or Seattle? I'm not. And I'm not saying the Titans run the table against those teams by any means, but there are some wins there. When 2 bad teams play, one of them wins. Vegas still has the Titans win-loss over-under number at 7.5. So I don't, not just based on that, based on what I see and what I know, I don't believe the Titans are in contention for Caleb Williams or for Drake May. I don't. Top 10, conceivably. Top 5, no. They play some bad teams, and they're going to beat some of them. They can totally beat the Falcons this weekend. They can totally beat the Steelers. I hear you laughing at that. If they can run the ball and if they can play some defense. And what if they were 4-4 a week from Thursday after the sky is falling right now at 2-4? It'd be a hell of a storyline. I'll say that. The Titans are 25th in scoring in the NFL with 17.3 points a game, which is a struggle. We know. Their week 8 opponent, the Falcons, 29th in scoring at 16.4 points a game. Their week 9 opponent, the Steelers, are tied for 26 at 17.2 points a game. Just a scooch under the Titans. Their week 10 opponent, the Buccaneers, are tied for 26th with the Steelers at 17.2 points a game. The Titans cannot score. They score 17.3 points a game, and they're about to play 3 teams in a row who score fewer points than they do. Now, you can't ask for a better schedule break than that. I don't know if they're going to maintain that whopping 17.3 points a game for the next 3 games. But look, if they play some clean football, if they don't turn it over, if they can run reasonably well, if they can play red zone defense the way they have and do a little bit better on 3rd down, There's no reason they can't be in games with these three teams. If they don't let TJ Watt single-handedly destroy them the way Myles Garrett did, they can be in these three games. These three teams are not dissimilar to the Tennessee Titans. Hope from Paul Kuharski. Everybody says I'm so negative. Kevin Byard in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania is going to be better than he was in Nashville, Tennessee. They have the number one rush defense in the NFL. And in Philadelphia, it means something it didn't mean in Nashville when the Titans had it last year, right? Or were right up there at top. It works for them because they get offenses into predictable passing situations. They're 6th overall in defense, 18th against the pass. But here's the thing. They only have 3 interceptions. They have 29 passes defensed, which is tied for 12th. Now, a lot of those passes defensed, I looked, are in the secondary, broken up passes, as opposed to tips at the line of scrimmage. But Byard is a guy with a knack for the football. He's made a living intercepting passes that are tipped and overthrown. And he's far more likely to see passes that are tipped and overthrown with the Eagles' excellent defense surrounded by excellent defenders than he was to get them in Tennessee, where the defense just wasn't living up to the billing that he had. When he is better in Philadelphia, please don't say, oh my God, they totally should have kept him. Look at what he's doing. He could have been doing that here. Circumstances have a big bearing on production. And Kevin Byard's circumstances just changed for the better in a big way. So good luck to him there. And good luck to Elijah Molden or Dane Cruikshank or Terrell Edmonds or whoever's taking his spot next to Amani Hooker. I think the Titans could be the same pass defense they were this year with Kevin Byard, without Kevin Byard. So, 5th and 6th and Edmonds is not a big return, but it's a return. Would you rather have had 11 more games of Kevin Byard and nothing, or 11 fewer games of Kevin Byard and that return? That's it. That's the cut and dried question about the Byard trade. Please sign up for Zen Sports using code TNPaul, all in capital letters. Start earning cash back. Get a free membership to paulkuharski.com. Why wouldn't you? If you're betting somewhere else and not getting money back, it doesn't make any sense. Eat at Jaspers. Don't block the box, and be sure to lock your locks. I had a guy reach out to me and tell me he had somebody come in his house through his doggy door. Lock your locks and lock your doggy door. See you soon.